Hey, welcome back to the channel, Next Generation with Raymond. In this video we are revealing some dark truths about EV cars, so stay tuned till the end. Electric vehicles, or EVs for short, are everywhere you look these days. They're sleek, they're silent, and they promise a cleaner future. It's like the future is finally here, right? Well, hold your horses. Or should I say, hold your electric motors. Like that one friend who shows up to a party looking fabulous but leaves a trail of chaos in their wake. EVs have a dark side. Don't worry, I'm not here to rain on your electric parade entirely, but let's pull back the curtain and peek behind those shiny new EVs, shall we? Because, spoiler alert, owning an EV isn't all sunshine and zero-emission rainbows. There are some hidden costs and challenges that might make you slam on the brakes before you trade in your trusty gas guzzler. Let's start with the elephant in the room, or should I say, the battery under the hood. EV batteries, those magical power sources, have a dirty little secret. They don't last forever. Just like your phone battery gets tired after a few years and a million TikTok scrolls, EV batteries degrade over time. This means their ability to hold a charge diminishes, leaving you with less range and more frequent trips to the charging station. And here's the kicker, replacing an EV battery is not cheap. We're talking thousands of dollars, folks. It's enough to make your wallet cry. It's enough to make you want to hold on to your old gas guzzler a little longer, even if it does sound like a grumpy lawnmower. Okay, let's talk about charging. Remember those carefree days of pulling into a gas station, filling up in 5 minutes and being on your way? Yeah, those days are over with an EV. First, finding a charging station isn't always as easy as it sounds. Sure, they're popping up everywhere, but it's not like every street corner has one yet. And if you're on a road trip, good luck finding a fast charger that isn't already occupied by a Tesla playing a light show. Even when you do find a charger, be prepared to wait. A lot longer than 5 minutes, that's for sure. We're talking hours, people. Time you could be spending, actually living your life. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. Yes, another one. The price tag. EVs are expensive, like really expensive. Sure, you might save some money on gas in the long run, but the initial investment is enough to make your bank account cry. And it's not just the sticker price that'll get you. Insurance for EVs is often higher because, those fancy batteries and electric motors don't come cheap to fix. So, while EVs might seem like the future, they're a future that's currently out of reach for many people. Unless you've got a tech CEO's salary, you might want to stick with your trusty old gas guzzler for now. Section 5. Real-world examples. EV ownership isn't always easy. Don't just take my word for it. Let's look at some real-world examples, shall we? Remember that time when a guy got stranded in the middle of nowhere because his EV ran out of juice, and the nearest charging station was miles away? Or how about that other story where someone's EV battery died prematurely, and they had to fork over thousands of dollars for a replacement? These are just a few examples of the challenges that come with EV ownership. It's enough to make you wonder if EVs are really ready for prime time or if they're still in beta testing. Section 6. The environmental impact, not always so green. Now, I know what you're thinking, but John, what about the environment? Aren't EVs supposed to be better for the planet? Well, yes and no. While it's true that EVs themselves don't produce tailpipe emissions, the process of manufacturing those big fancy batteries is quite energy intensive. And where does that energy often come from? Fossil fuels. So, while EVs might be cleaner to drive, their overall environmental impact is more complicated than it seems. Section 7. The ethics of EV production. A closer look. Let's dig a little deeper, shall we? The materials used in EV batteries, like cobalt and lithium, are often mined in countries with questionable labor practices. We're talking child labor, unsafe working conditions, and environmental degradation. Not exactly the clean, ethical image that EV manufacturers like to project. So before you pat yourself on the back for driving an EV, it's worth considering the human and environmental costs associated with its production. Section 8. So are EVs worth it, the whole picture? Look, I'm not saying that EVs are all bad. They do have their advantages, like being quieter, smoother to drive, and potentially cheaper to operate in the long run, but it's important to be aware of the downsides before you make the switch. EVs are still a relatively new technology, and like any new technology, there are going to be some bumps in the road. Ultimately, the decision of whether or not to buy an EV is a personal one. But hopefully this little chat has given you a more realistic view of what it's really like to own an EV. Section 9. The future of transportation, a bumpy road ahead. So what does the future hold for EVs? Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? As battery technology improves and charging infrastructure expands, many of the challenges we've discussed might become less of an issue. But for now, it's important to be aware of the dark side of EVs. Because just like that friend who shows up to the party looking fabulous but leaves a trail of chaos in their wake, EVs have their hidden costs. So buckle up, folks. The road to a cleaner, greener future is paved with good intentions, but it's also littered with a few potholes along the way. EVs may be the future, but the road ahead isn't as smooth as they want you to believe. What do you think? Are EVs truly the solution, or just another problem in disguise? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more eye-opening tech insights. See you in the next one.